everyone, and welcome to Lost Bits. My name is Marie. Thank you so much for being here. This is a place where I share the interesting bits of information I find while making the main episodes here on my channel. This week's episode was the vanished family of the Mary Celeste, and oh my goodness, there is so much to cover here still. And I admit, I also dug around and found some interesting other shipwreck stories I'd like to share with you today. So let's just dive right in. So the Mary Celeste is such a long and complicated mythology in pop culture that there's so many different just legends and honestly kind of false stuff out there that even trying my best, I couldn't address them all in the episode. So right now I'm going to just run through you speed round, okay? A bunch of common misconceptions or myths or whatever that you'll hear about the Mary Celeste that are just not true. Okay, we're going to speed round this. We're going to boom, boom, boom. Now, I'm taking this information from a website listed in my sources for the episode, which is maryceleste.net. And they have a really great section there called Common Errors and Misconceptions. I don't own this website. I'm not affiliated with their website. Like I said, I'm just using them as a source, but I just want to give them a shout out. And all of today's sources are, like always, once again, pinned to the top comment below. So if you want to follow along and if you want to read more, then please, please don't let me stop you. Now, some of these I addressed already in the episode. I'm not going to bother to cover them again here. We're just going to go through ones I didn't have time to talk about. First of all, lifeboats on board. Some of the legends and stories you'll find online or in different shows or whatever will say that lifeboats were found on board the Mary Celeste, but that is absolutely not true. The only lifeboat was long gone. 2, food on the table. You'll sometimes hear different versions of this, that when the crew of the DeGracia got to the Mary Celeste and found it abandoned, they found food in the stove or food on the table or a warm cup of coffee or a warm cup of tea sitting there on the table there. No, all of that's BS. If you watch the episode, remember, you'll hear that the cabin and everything else was basically full of water. No, not like sinking full of water, but it was soaked inside. And the stove was actually turned over as well. Everything was kind of out of order. It wasn't destroyed, it was just kind of messed up. So no, absolutely, there was no foods found sitting there waiting to be eaten. Same with sewing machine oil. Oh my gosh, you'll see this all over the place. Sewing machine oil, a little vial of sewing machine oil found sitting perfectly upright. No, again, the cabin was in a ruckus. That was not there. That did not happen. Sails being full or sails in great shape. No, absolutely not. Some sails were set, but the foresail and the upper top sail were just gone, apparently blown away. And the main staysail was lying down, collapsed on top of the boat. And all other sails were furled. Towed. And I actually think I misphrased this in my main episode too. The Mary Celeste was not towed. Once the crew of the DeGracia got to her, they decided to sail her back to port following the DeGracia, but she wasn't technically towed. Now, I already told you if you watched the episode that the spelling Marie Celeste is not appropriate. The real spelling is Mary Celeste. But you also see different names like Mary Sellers or things like that. And she did have a different name at one point. As you guys know, she was called the Amazon at the very start. But those were her only 2 names, the Amazon or the Mary Celeste, no others. You also see sometimes different names attached to the ship of the Mary Celeste that weren't listed in my memoriam at the end of the episode there. These are the only people that were aboard the Mary Celeste. Any names you come across besides these are bullarchy. Ignore them. And there we go. You'll find a couple other things relating to dating and things like that online, but those were the main misconceptions that I just came across hunting around on the internet. And now you can say you know better. And to be honest, I get it. Like I said, there's been so many sensationalist different media stories about this for over a century now. And it's a very mysterious story. So mystery lends itself to kind of weird theories or different details that people make up to just fill in the gaps. But yeah, I just did want to take this second here to address some more of those. But just like always, please don't let my words be the only words you hear on the Mary Celeste. Again, please check the sources below. And now that I have you here, let's take a second and look at some other interesting shipwrecks from the past. Because as heartbreaking as some of these stories can be, some of them are also fascinating and really historically distinctive. On November 21st, 1902, a ship called the Bannockburn was leaving port from Fort William in Ontario, going across Lake Superior. She would never complete her journey. The ship and her entire crew were lost somewhere on the lake, and in the over 200 years since her disappearance, she's become a legend. She's sometimes known as the Flying Dutchman of the Great Lakes and has been cited many times as a ghost ship, some even claiming to see skeletons on board her decks. And again, I kind of understand the mystery. Oftentimes when we think of shipwrecks, I think we just think of ocean-going vessels. But the Great Lakes have been home to their own fair share of shipwrecks and, unfortunately, heartbreak. The crew of the Bannockburn was comprised of 21 people, and I don't mean to be so excited about the mystery that I lose sight of the point that that's 21 people who never got to go home again. It is quite a heartbreaking tale, and today the Bannockburn is the subject of many, many legends in the Great Lakes area, as is the shipwreck that I'm going to share next with you, because we're staying with the Great Lakes for a second, because I feel like they get underrepresented for both their shipwrecks and just their nautical history. The SS Kamloops was a Canadian freighter that was, again, sailing on Lake Superior, which is just, I cannot stress enough how dangerous this lake can be. Okay, waves can form there that are higher than a 2-story building, and the Great Lakes as a whole have their own unique ecosystem. They're so big, and Lake Superior can be thought of in some ways as a giant watery graveyard for thousands and thousands of people, and the SS Kamloops is unfortunately an instance of that. Now, unlike the Bannockburn, we do know where the Kamloops is. In early December of 1927, when the Kamloops was traveling between Lake Huron and Lake Superior, an aggressive storm moved in. She was last seen by other seamen steaming towards the Isle Royale at dusk of that day, already heavily coated with ice. And after that point, the ship, and more importantly, her crew of 22 people, were never seen again, or at least not how we would like to. It took a few decades, but eventually in the 1970s, the shipwreck of the Kamloops would be found. And due to the coldness of the water of Lake Superior and the depth to which it had sunk, it was beyond the reach of bacteria. So the ship and her crew that were left within were almost perfectly preserved. Now, I will say not all members of the crew are stuck down there. Some did wash ashore, and some, their fate is just unknown. However, some are still down there, including one that has been stuck in the engine room since the time that the ship hit the bottom. We don't know his exact identity for certain, but divers have taken to calling him in modern times Old Whitey because of his somewhat pale appearance. I am going to show you an image of him here now that I have found, though I do so respectfully and in the hope that this will help us keep these tragedies firmly in mind. Because whenever we're talking about shipwrecks like this, however mysterious they are or however fascinating they are, we are still talking about real people. Oh my goodness, I wish I knew this man's name. I wish I knew who his family was. There's different theories about it, but we don't really know. Rest in peace, King. Rest in peace, my underwater king. I will say this shipwreck in general has some very heartbreaking history and stories about it. And a few months from now, I plan on maybe coming back to visit for an episode proper. But it's, there's a lot there. Okay, well, we'll end on a bit of a less harrowing note. This ship that you're looking at a picture of right now is the oldest intact shipwreck that has been found anywhere in the world. It's been found in the Black Sea by an Anglo-Bulgarian team, and it's believed to be over 2,400 years old. This ship has been preserved just beautifully. Now, it's believed to have originated in ancient Greece, and actually, just because it happened a long time ago doesn't mean there weren't people here. Moment of respect for our ancient Greek shipfaring friends. But it's absolutely fascinating. It's also kind of a time capsule. Now, the cargo hold and everything was still intact, and I think they're still recovering things from this wreck because it was only discovered in 2018. But I'll hunt down everything I can find about it and put it in the source links below. Okay guys, well that'll do it for me. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Lost Bits. I love sitting down with you guys like this, and I'm so excited for this week's coming episode. I know it's coming to Christmas, and I do love Christmas. It's not going to be Christmas themed. I feel like you guys probably have enough of that in your life right now. It will be completely un-Christmas related. Although I will probably be stopping in at another point later in the week just to say hi and wish you well. And this week's episode is going to be, I can't tell you. It's going to be so much fun though. How can I? There's going to be skulls. And there's going to be some houses, and there's gonna be fire. No one be alarmed. Okay, I'll see you Monday. I love you guys. Bye. Bye.